Hi, it's Neil from Mighty Little Green Machine. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm hoping that I'm finally fixing the leaks in my backhoe once and for all. If you've watched my previous videos, I had an O-ring that was leaking that I repaired successfully. Then I found a hose that was leaking that I replaced. And then I found another hose that was leaking. So I'm going to remove the second hose that's leaking. And I think that's my last leak, so I can start using this again. Right now I have it hooked up, not in series. It's actually not hooked up. It's just acting as weight on the tractor right now because it leaks too much fluid. I've actually gone through 3/4 of a gallon of fluid topping this thing off from all the leaks that it was having. I think the two lines was my fault. I think that I crushed them when I got it stuck. I don't know yet. I'm going to look at them. But here's my challenge for today. I'm going to try and get this line off, and it starts off here, goes down below, and then it comes up somewhere into the backhoe. I'm not sure which one it is yet, but I'm going to try and get it off just like this. It's going to be a bit of a challenge. Could turn out to be impossible. I don't know. But what I'm trying to avoid is hooking up the backhoe again and losing fluid all over the ground. Because A, I'm tired of losing fluid, and B, I'm really tired of cleaning up hydraulic fluid off the floor. My wife just is not impressed, and I don't blame her. So let's get started. Okay, so what I did was I climbed underneath there, and I found out that this was the hose, so I pulled it all the way forward. So I got to just figure out which one of these it is, but it looks like, if you watch, that it's this one that's moving. There's a clamp on there, so I'm going to pull the clamp and then make sure that that's the one. Again, I'm trying to do this without losing too much more fluid and making a mess. Okay, if you can see right here, there's a clamp that's holding, actually, let me get you some light. It's holding the hoses in place. I think that's the one. I think this is the hose. So I'm going to remove this clamp now. And I found that either a 1/2 inch or a 13 millimeter will fit this. Again, the problem here is I'm trying not to. Let's see if I can do this. I may not. Oh, man. I'm going to do this. I don't want to back my ratchet into the. Now, what I will probably do, once I get the new hose hooked up, then I'll hook up the backhoe and put this arm down to put this clamp back in again. I don't have a lot of room in here. That might give me enough. Okay, so that's definitely the hose. However, with that being said, I think I'm going to have to take this clamp off more to get the hose out of there. I'm not totally sure. I don't know. So right now I'm stuck against the piston, the cylinder. Okay. Worst case, obviously, I can change the direction of the ratchet, but I'm going to try and leave it there. Now I'm going to try and figure out where this hose goes over here, the valve manifold here. So it's not that one. Oh, looks like it's this one behind. Of course it is. Let's see, just make sure. Okay, so that's the one. So of course it's behind, so I'm gonna have to take this front one off to get to it. Okay, so I'm having a hard time getting the wrench on there. I'm gonna try, as you see, I got my floor jack with a block of wood under the bucket. I'm gonna try and see if I can jack this up a little to release the lock and then lower it down so that way I can put it back up into place afterwards. I don't know if that's gonna work or not. We're gonna find out. Doesn't look like it's having the desired effect. Okay, let me see if I can bring this block back more. see if this will work. Get a little more leverage point. You're gonna fall. See if that's doing anything for us now. Oh, there we go. Now, see if I can lower it down. Okay, now that I can jack it back up, I'm going to open it up a little. Okay. So now I've got some room. Now let's see how we do. There's our behind one, so I got to take this one off first. This is 7/8. I am going to get some leakage out of this, but I do have cardboard on the floor now. Trying to get smarter about this as I go. I don't know how much this you can see. Not much, huh? Okay. So there's the front one taken off. Problem is, these are so tough to get to. Hopefully that got started. Yep, it did. Okay, I wasn't sure I was going to get that. Oh, well, apparently the boom's going down anyway. Because that's the line for the boom. And there it goes. I think that's a better angle. Yeah. Oh. Doesn't want to thread all the way off. And I can't really use the wrench like I want because it's there. So what I'm doing is I'm holding the nut and spinning the hose back and then spinning the whole thing, and little by little we're walking it off. Little by little. There it goes. Okay. Double checking again. There. Okay, so there's the one end off of that. Now, I'll move you guys. We'll take it off the cylinder. So here's our other end of that hose. You can see it's moving. Now, question is, so the good news is now that I've done this, I can take the, oh, but it'll work anyway, clamp off. And here's our hose. So now I'll get a new one of these made. And we'll put it back on and see how we did. Got my new hose. I forgot to film this part of it. So all I've done so far though is I've connected it here. I've run it down through the clamp. Right now it just runs out here. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to feed it underneath, make the turn in it, and then bring it back up into the valve body and get it connected. So in order to do that, I got to climb underneath the tractor. Okay, I'm going to try and show you guys how this works. So it came down from under here, down through this loop that holds all the hoses in place. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this or not. Looped it around and then back up. And here it comes here to go into the manifold. But what I'm looking at right now is I don't like the way that other new hose I put in is run right now. So I'm going to fix that. That's this one. You can see it's not really looped the way it should be. So I'm going to get this first one attached. And then I'm going to see if I can get that to run a little better. And then we'll be ready to try it. And hopefully this is the last week. Okay, so I got to take this one I left loose, if you remember. It's been several days since I started this project, so I'm going to bring this down. Hopefully you guys can see this. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think you can. So I'm attaching the new hose now. Biggest problem I found with doing this is getting a wrench in there to tighten it. Actually, can I lower this more? Let's see. Nope, that's all the way down. I mean, what I could do is I could loosen up these nuts and make these spin, but I'm trying to avoid loosening up as many connections as I can because I'm just asking for more leaks then. Let me try a different wrench. As far as I know, that one wasn't leaking, although I didn't run it very long. Because I found the other leak pretty quick. Everything you do with hydraulic oil is so messy, and no matter how careful you are, you get fluid everywhere. Okay, so I managed to get everything tight, but what I was talking about is if you loosen this nut, these will spin side to side. They're indexable, so you can put them the way you want. So if you can't get a wrench in there, you could loosen, say, this one and this one, turn them away, and then get in there and tighten it, and then go back and do it. I was trying to avoid that, and I was able to avoid it just because I don't want to take a chance of more leaks, but that option exists for you. So now next step is I've got to check the hydraulic fluid while it's still cold. You always want to check your hydraulic fluid cold. Down here, I don't know if you can see my hand. Yeah, see, there's a yellow dipstick. It actually looks good, but I'm going to wipe it off and check it again. I did fill it up after I put the last hose on, and I didn't run it very long leaking, so should be fine, but I want to double check. Yeah, I'm right in the perfect zone. So add stops right there. That's your max right there. You want to be somewhere in this X. I'm halfway up, which is fine. Now, if it wasn't, the way you check your oil, the way you fill it is right here. There's a cap that unscrews, and you pour it right in there. Remember, there's only one tank for hydraulic fluid on these tractors. So that runs your hydraulics, your loader, your backhoe and stuff, but it also runs your hydrostatic transmission. So you don't want to run that low. Okay, so here's what happened. Somehow, I don't know, I didn't hit record or didn't get it, but started the tractor. I ran the backhoe back and forth a few times, and I could hear something. And so when I looked down, I had another leak, or so I thought. So I shut the tractor down and I got underneath, and it turns out that it was the fitting from the first hose I replaced, not in the manifold, but down below. I don't know if I forgot to tighten it or what was going on, but I went ahead and tightened it up, and that solved that problem. So that leak is now gone. So it appears now that there are no leaks anymore. I don't honestly know. I'm honestly thinking that I forgot to tighten that fitting. That was the first hose that I replaced. Because it was loose. It wasn't just unsnugged. So maybe I was rushing. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back and watch my own video to see if I tightened it. But let's fire this thing up again. Okay, I think I got it. But the one thing that I did forget, which I'm glad I just did what I did, is to tighten up the clamp, the hose clamp down here. So let's get that done. Anytime you have something like this, you want to make sure that you've got enough slack so that it doesn't put pressure on the hose when you're at the extremes. I'm going to tighten this, and then I'm going to raise it and make sure that there's no tension on the hose. Okay, so I'm going to start this again, and we'll bring it up and we'll make sure. I think I wanna, this feels like an awfully big bend here to me. I'm gonna loosen that and adjust it a little. So I had found a drip on one of these hose bottoms here. I dried it, and then I ran it through its paces again, and it's fine now. Again, hydraulic fluid just goes everywhere, so it drips down and it hangs. So I think that's fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this plate back on the back here. All you got to do that, gosh, I feel like this has been apart forever. Your control knobs, I mean. And then I'm going to slide this back on, but I need to put, if you remember, there's a J hook or J nut that slides on here. So you can see that just slides right over that. Now I lost this. I had to go get one at Home Depot. Which the good news is that they're available at Home Depot. And you're just going to slide. Oh, I'm probably standing right in your way. You're going to slide your boots down. Back over your sticks. Slide this down into place. Like that. And the back one uses it. All these have washers on them, just so you know. Okay, that's good. Then I had lost one of these bolts, but I found it. So that made me happy. I bought something that was close that would have worked. And on the other side, I don't know. Now, shouldn't really be using my shirt for this, but put the control knobs back on. And that's going to do it. It's all back together. I don't see any visible leaks, which is great news. I'm going to double check my fluid because I did not only lose a little more, but the hoses had emptied and the cylinders had emptied. So it might have brought it down a little. I just want to make sure. My plan is to dig up I got another stump I'm going to dig out with it and then double check it for leaks. But that'll be a different video. Hopefully you learned something from my mistakes and from what I went through with this. If you have any questions, go ahead and put them down in the comment section. Please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video or learned anything, please hit the like button. I enjoyed being here with you today. Well, for a few days. Have a great day. I'll see you next time.